Well, hello everybody, and welcome to Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne. I'm Anthony, here with my co-host Wayne. How you doing, Wayne?
I'm doing pretty good. I think we should change the name of this episode to Open Ass Pain.
Seriously. I mean, one can only hope if you meet who we're going to talk about that they grace you with an anal probe. Because I bet... Like, they don't just go in there raw, dog. You know that they're giving you some kind of, like, Cosby on steroids Quaalude that makes you just, like, float in the air. Like, it must be fucking awesome.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, come on. You're a sympathizer, Cosby sympathizer.
I'm not a sympathizer.
You're over there like the fucking bartender from The Shining cleaning the glass like this. Like, oh, you want a drink from Mr. Cosby?
Oh, man. Well, what we're talking about is not being anally probed by Bill Cosby, but potentially being anally probed by aliens. There's a lot of news that's been going on, and there's nobody I can think of that would be better suited to talk about it than the Italian, Anthony Eugenio.
Yeah, this rumor is spreading like wildfire. Thank you, Allie. I'm Portuguese. God damn it. No. So, yes, Wayne is correct. I am what you would call an expert in ufology. That's right, motherfuckers. Come for me. No, I'm just kidding. But I do know a lot. So I'm very excited, Wayne, because on this day, July 26th, 2023, the House Committee is doing a hearing with 3 whistleblowers who are going to give testimony, maybe under oath, we don't know until we see it, but probably, about various milestones in ufology. So this is going to be run by Tim Burchett and Representative Luna, and they're co-sponsoring this effort, and they're basically saying that they believe that the government knows that we have crashed retrieved UFOs in our possession, which is fucking crazy, A, and B, that they're fucking lying about it.
Yeah, I want to rewind just a little bit. You said that they may or may not be under oath. Yeah. What would be the point of them testifying to these people if they are not under oath? Wouldn't that be a waste of time?
Huge waste of time. So we really do hope that they're under oath. But to be honest, when they do these whistleblower hearings, it really is going to matter on what this hearing is designed to do. So, for instance, if they are trying to put a bunch of stuff into the written statements, so of Congress, on the record, then they're going to definitely want to be under oath, meaning they're going, hey, go look for this in this place and you're going to find the saucer. You're definitely going to want that to be under oath. If you're doing this as a hearing for a stepping stone to another hearing, where you have different whistleblowers to come in, call it a proof of concept or come in for your hearing, then I can understand them not making it under oath because it's more of a for the cameras type of hearing than it is for, on the record congressional stuff. But we fucking hope it's on the record. God damn it. So there are going to be 3 people talking at this motherfucker. Number 1, and favorite in my eyes, is David Grush, who you may know as the whistleblower who came out about 2 months ago and told the world that the United States is in possession of crashed wreckage and non-crashed wreckage. I guess it's not wreckage at that point. Fully intact craft. About up to 11 of them, like a dozen of them, of extraterrestrial, but he called it non-human intelligence machines. And David Grush is a decorated Air Force officer, went into Afghanistan, ended up working on the UFO task force that the government created, made the daily briefing and delivered it to the president. So he had the highest classification that was available. Title 50, I believe, is what they call that classification. So it goes to show that this guy is not fucking around. And crazy is his story has come out in an article in a lovely website called The Debrief and also on News Nation TV. And He gave evidence to the Inspector General of the intelligence community at the Pentagon, who deemed his evidence credible, urgent, and referred him to the oversight committees of the Senate and Congress, where he had already given, at this point, 14, I think, hours of testimony, they were saying, or something like that. So all my fucking talking to tell you that this is the real deal, folks. This is a real guy with corroborated evidence behind him in the government saying that we have bodies of non-human beings in our possession. And I think that this is the craziest story of all time. So, though we're a comedy podcast, I think this is an important topic for us to get into. So, in light of all this, and in light of the meeting on Wednesday and David Grush and his huge dick, we want to also highlight the rest of the conference. But first, what do you think of Dave Grush, Wayne?
Yeah, you initially sent me that link, and I've listened to a lot and read a lot about what he said. And when I was younger and when I was in college, I did a lot of research. I didn't have much of a life. I did a lot of research about, the famous UFO sightings and crashes, the Roswells and the Phoenix and all that stuff, and EBE. And a lot of that has escaped my brain. I haven't done that in a long time, aside from talking with you. But this has really reignited that, and I'm glad to be living in a time where this kind of shit's coming out. So I can't wait to see what this brings about.
Yeah, and the next two witnesses that they're going to interview are no slouches either. The next one that we're going to talk about is Dave Fravor, Commander David Fravor, who is a Top Gun pilot instructor and also was a part of the 2004 Nimitz Carrier Group incident. So this is a really cool one. It's probably anybody who knows anything about ufology is going to say, hey, what is the government like out there in the open with evidence that you can point to? What is the best case in UFO history? And most of them point to this incident because basically what happened is pilot David Fravor, who's going to be doing testimony at this conference today, went out in 2004 on a training mission in Southern California and saw a tic-tac shaped craft hovering above the water. It was tracked at going from space down to sea level in under a second. I think it was 0.76 seconds or some shit like that, which would basically take the entire nuclear arsenal of the world to pull that maneuver. That's how much energy it would take to do that. So we know that this isn't something that's in anybody's inventory for vehicles. Dave Fravor got in a chase with this tic-tac craft. It mirrored his movements, and it shot up to the cap point of the group, which is where these fighter jets go after their training missions, their rendezvous point, basically. And the tic-tac craft went there. They tracked with radar. They have data tapes of it. All this happened. So you're going to hear from Dave today probably about that incident, but also more things. He's gone on afterwards, reportedly, to work deeper into the field, and he might have some more shit to say. Have you heard of the tic-tac incident, Wayne?
I have. I have not heard of Dave, but I do know of the tic-tac incident. Not enough to speak on it as well as you, but yes, I am familiar with it.
Yeah, that he's about as credible as it gets in the field. He's actually from New Hampshire, which is cool. Maybe we'll see him at the comedy show someday. Dave, yeah, I'll give you anything you want to go one of those things. God damn, I will punch every single person in the room in the face if that would entertain you. Let me know. So
Anthony will let you punch him in the face with your dick.
Yeah, that's option A. I was going to mention that. That's option A. It will go to plan B if I have to gladiator violence for you. So Dave Fravor, love that guy. So next, who you actually would want to punch you in the face with his penis, because he's fucking handsome as hell, is Ryan Graves. Also, I believe, I think he's from New England as well. So I think we're going to make this happen, everybody. Woo! So Ryan Graves is another fighter pilot, but he was part of the group that is famous for the gimbal UFO video. That's the one that kind of looks like a top and it's spinning like a real flying saucer shape. And they're like, it's rotating in the video, one of the 3 that went out. So you can look up those videos. They're quite good. But he was part of that group. He didn't see the craft with his eyes. He just saw it on radar. But he's been a part of a tremendous amount of, behind the scenes work with Senate intelligence community, stuff like that. So Ryan is a very important group. He has a podcast that's awesome where he talks about it. And I believe his Twitter handle is Uncertain Vector. So go check out Ryan. Again, you're going to be blown away by his handsomeness and especially in our regard. But yeah, love Ryan.
Can you send me his info for the podcast? I'm not aware of this. I'd love to listen to it, and I'd also like to put it in the show notes.
Yes, really definitely. Cool. We will put all info that we talked about that we can in the show notes, so that in the description, so that you can click on it. Go see these wonderfully handsome, big-dicked people. So yeah, that's a really great synopsis of who's going to be talking and what they're going to be talking about. So next, I wanted to give you a brief history of ufology in context to what David Grush has talked about already in interviews. So do you have any thoughts before I break into that on this UAP conference?
I do not.
Well, look at that. Wayne's already out. I've bored him. I've fucking bored Wayne already. God damn it. This is like when I have a family dinner.
I'm excited to start the journey.
Good. So David Grush has given an interview that we talked about to News Nation and to, again, I know we keep saying how big everybody's dick is and that we're talking about, and you're like, it can't be a coincidence that all these people are just hanging such goddamn hammers. But he got interviewed by Ross Coulthart, and if I didn't tell you that guy's swinging goddamn sledgehammer in his pants, I'd be doing a disservice to our listeners. So yeah, Ross Coulthart, Aussie Hammer. Woo! Did a great interview where they set up to 7 hours of fully talked about UFOs, and Grush gave a lot of interesting information. And our story takes us back to 1933 in Italy, where the Mussolini-led, gross, probably all full of soot, because I think everybody back then was full of soot, people in Italy. There was a saucer, bell-shaped, they said, that crashed, and they grabbed it. And eventually America decided, like, hey, you know what? We're just going to end this war real quick. Like, bye, Japan. And then that ended World War II. We went over to Italy and we said, hey, Vatican, God isn't real. Give us that fucking saucer. And they said, you're right. We're just trying to get the kids. Here's the saucer. So that is what, yeah, that's exactly how it went. David Grush said some of that. So that's an important one. This is the first instance that we know of where the United States has claimed a craft of non-human intelligence, according to handsome David Grush. And that brings us to my favorite, my very, very, very most favorite UFO case of all time, and that's Roswell, New Mexico. Wayne knows a little bit about Roswell. What do you know about Roswell, Wayne?
Yeah, the same as everybody else. Was it 1946, was it? You know the date.
7.
Oh, 47. Yeah, the supposed weather balloon crash. But, you know, what I know of it was that when it happened, the government came out and said, yeah, we have this craft that we don't really know what it is, and this and that. And then they changed the story about 7 times. And you had that farmer who was like, this is some metals.
He did say that. He said it just in that dialect. I got some metals. So this is awesome. And I wanted you to go first because I really wanted the audience to know how fucking wrong you were. And you were so wrong only because the government has put out so much misinformation that's really clouded the water of what happened in Roswell, New Mexico. Like, for instance, they didn't say that they had a craft that they didn't know what it was. They said they had a flying saucer in bold print. They said it out loud on a radio. They said, we captured one of those saucers, everybody. Holy fucking shit. And then somebody went over to the guy that said that and slapped him down, probably murdered him, but we're going to say slapped him for his family, and basically said that tell the public it's a weather balloon. We know that this is a lie because later, when the report came out of Roswell investigated again in 1990 something, they told us that in fact was not a weather balloon, but a nuclear satellite balloon is what they called it, which they weren't deploying on that side of the country in that year, and was not possible to be done at the time because of the debris field that was left behind. So again, another lie. So they've admitted lying. I am going to go with their first instinct, which is in 1947, a flying saucer crashed and 3 bodies were flung from it. One of them survived. We went and got it. And about 150 first-hand witnesses have said the same. So that's why Roswell goes down as far as witness testimony goes, because it was so long ago. It's unfortunately not tangible evidence that we can point to. But as far as like first-hand witness testimony, best case that there ever was. So because after that, the government began their own UFO programs, starting with Project Grudge, then Sign, and then Project Blue Book, which is the public-facing one. Did you know there was 2 UFO programs before Project Blue Book, Wayne? Yeah, that's because the government's a bunch of pieces of shit. And for about right after Roswell, coincidentally, we went, and we started looking into UFOs behind the scenes. And that was what we called Project Grudge. And that started off with a memo from Nathaniel Twining, who was a government higher up at the time, saying that the flying saucer phenomenon was real and that it was to be taken seriously all the way back at this time. So they started a program behind the scenes, Project Grudge, which turned into Project Sign, where they investigated. And then the United States, because there were so many sightings happening at that point in 1952, especially the flyover in Washington, D.C., the government said, all right, we need a public-facing office that's going to debunk these UFO claims. Call them swamp gas. Call them, fucking balloons in the sky. Modern day, is Mick West is somebody that's going to talk about that. Like, oh, look, it's a seagull, and it's a fucking, obviously, some kind of craft. And, that's a piece of shit move. That's all I'm saying. It's bitch move. Stop being a bitch, Mick West. Do good things. Like, use your video game skills and remake Tony Hawk in a way that makes it so I can grind longer than 8 seconds without throwing my controller at the wall. All right, sorry, moving on. 1952, they opened Project Blue Book. They brought on Alan Hynek, who investigated, lied his dick off. Later in life, wrote a book saying, I lied my dick off. There actually is aliens, blah, blah, blah. So that happens. So Grush has talked about everything we've said in some fashion or words, and I think he's going to do the same today at this UAP conference. And if you motherfuckers are not paying attention to UFOs, what are you waiting for? There are aliens out there. They could be extra dimensional. They could be the ones who built the pyramids. They could be gay. Maybe all of them are gay, and that's what was right. And they're going to be like, you straight dickheads are doing this all wrong. The earth is designed for you to be same-sex only. Could be that too. And we just don't know. All we know is everything we've been taught is fucking wrong. So if you're not watching this, then you are dead to me. Wayne, you're going to watch, right?
Sure am.
So, everybody, as I burp into the mic, let me tell you one more time. I'm not insane. I'm not wearing tinfoil hats or anything. I love ufology, and I love all the people that are in it. Everybody we talked about today, Ross Coulter, David Grush, Dave Fravor, Ryan Graves. You guys are all the heroes of today, and you're letting America know that we are not alone. And they don't have dicks, and we have dicks. So as far as we know, that's we're higher above them. All right? So this wasn't a step towards the quest for laughs, but it was a step towards the quest for truth.